For lesson 1.3's Ready, Set, Go, what we're trying to do in the ready portion is continue the work with multiplying binomials. And a binomial is a set of two terms that are multiplying together. Okay, so I have x plus 5 times x minus 7 here. I have 3x minus 5 times x minus 1. It's two different terms being multiplied together. Okay, so to go through just a few of these, you can think about it a little bit differently than the way that you see it. So what you can do for number 2, I can take x times x and x times positive 3. So if I do that, I would have x times x gives me x squared, and x times positive 3 gives me a plus 3x. Then I would take the plus 8 and multiply it to both terms, or distribute it to both terms. So I can take plus 8x plus 8 times 3 is 24. Now I need to look to see what I can combine. And if you notice up in the top here, we can combine like terms when we have the same base raised to the same power. So I have to leave the x squared by itself, but I can combine 3x and 8x to give me 11x, and the 24 would remain. Okay, that's all we're doing here. I don't want to say that this is easy. I'll just say that we can identify the pattern and build from there. So for the next one, for number 4, x times x, and then x times negative 4. So x times x is x squared, x times negative 4 is negative 4x. Plus 1 times x is plus 1x, and plus 1 times negative 4 is minus 4. So combining those like terms, again, I can take the negative 4x and the positive 1x. The x squared stays the same. I end up with x squared minus 3x minus 4. For number 6, same thing. 5x times 3x. Now we've got 15x squared plus 5x, and then minus 7 times 3x gives me negative 21x, minus 7 times positive 1 gives me a negative 7. Combine those like terms, and you should end up with 15x squared plus 5 and minus 21 should give me a negative 16x, and minus 7. That would be your solution. For number 8, same process. X times negative 2x gives me negative 2x squared. X times positive 5 gives me plus 5x. And my other one, positive 6 times negative 2x gives me negative 12x. Positive 6 times positive 5 gives me positive 30. And combining those like terms, we'll end up with negative 2x squared minus 7x plus 30. For the set portion, this is what we were talking about in the lesson itself. We can see that there's a pattern that is forming each step of the way. In order to get to each next step, I'm adding 6 to the previous term. Okay? All the way down. So we can say that the pattern has a common difference of plus 6. If that's the case, we know that the recursive equation starts at 1, and everything after that, and this is an x, takes the previous term and adds 6. For number 12, same thing. We're going to look for a step for pattern, and we can see that each time it's adding 5 to the previous term. We can say that it is a common difference of positive 5. The recursive equation, well, our first term is 5, if you notice here. And to get any next term, we would take the previous one and add 5 to it. For number 14, things get a little bit more interesting because I'm going to take, again, try to find a pattern to see what's happening. If I subtract 16, subtract 26, and then subtract 16, and then subtract 6, and then add 4, and then add 14, and then add 24. No first difference. No common first difference. But if I look here, well, that's a difference of 10. That's a difference of 10. Now I'm seeing it. It's differences, second differences of 10. And since it's a second common difference of 10, we can set up our recursive equation. F of 1 is equal to 4. F of x is equal to f of x minus 1 plus the second difference times x plus that y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0, it's the y value. So it would be here. Or you could just plus 0 does not need to be written. For numbers 17 through 20, it's giving you the first term, the 0th term. Your job is to figure out what the first 5 terms of that sequence would be based on what you see. So for number 18, I know that the 0th term will be 24. Then after that, what this is saying is that I'm going to take the previous term and subtract 5. So 24 minus 5 is 19. 19 minus 5 is 14. Then 9, then 4, then negative 1, ... And I can go on and on. For number 20, 0th term is 6. And then what this is saying is that to find the new term, take the previous term and multiply it by 2. So 6 times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 2 is 48, times 2 is 96, times 2 is 192, and so on. Hopefully this helps. Reach out if you have any questions.